Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the Intel Extreme Masters Hearthstone Tournament. This is a big, yeah, for sure. You guys are right, this is a big deal. We are here in the glorious Spodek Arena in Katowice in Poland. Live and loud, and we have got a great tournament lined up. The good people of Intel have put together a show that is going to be nothing short of spectacular. The game has just gone live in the last days. I'm playing it, I'm loving it. If you're watching at home via Twitch, make sure you check it out on Battle.net. But of course, in order to put this show together, we're going to need to have challengers. What does that mean? That means I get the honor of inviting up our first contender, and that is, put your hands together for Lothar! How are you doing, sir?
I'm very excited to be here. It's such a great thing to have this game live, being released, and being on the first tournament ever after the release. It's really awesome, and this place is amazing.
So obviously you're a home favorite here, being from Poland. What are you thinking when you look around and see this phenomenal arena filled up at the Intel Extreme Masters?
Well, first of all, I'm being blinded by the lights, so that's one point. But I think that e.sport is just developing in the right direction for a huge, really huge thing. And I hope that Hearthstone will be one of the main events in the next year's IEM.
Well, excellent. That sounds perfect. I'm excited. Please have a seat. And then, of course, we need to have somebody to go up against him. And this is a man who needs little introduction, and that is because his name is none other than Artosis! Sir, this is kind of a big deal to stand next to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. This has been a great event. It's my first time in Poland. I'm having a great time, and I'm happy to finish it off with some Hearthstone action.
Now, I've been playing Hearthstone. I'm not even going to pretend I'm close as good as you, but what makes this game so fun and sticky? I mean, it's great.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with you completely. It's like so addicting and so fun, and everyone that I know is playing it like around the clock. It's the Blizzard magic, man. Their games are just the best.
That's the way it is, that Blizzard magic sauce. Well, please have a seat. The best of luck to you. Guys, one more round for the guys up here playing it out in this, the Intel Extreme Masters Hearthstone Tournament. Now, the guys are ready or getting ready behind me, which can mean only one thing. I get to hand off to two people who I'm proud to call my colleagues, and that is the always wonderful Katowice and the glorious Red Eye.
Not sure I've been called glorious before, but thank you very much, Sean. Yes, welcome to the Hearthstone tournament. We are very, very happy to be here. We've had a very long week, of course, for the Intel Extreme Masters, but Katowice and I, fresh from the main stage, are here to give you the Hearthstone tournament, which we're thrilled to be part of and enjoy. Katowice, different game, same shirt.
Same shirt,
you might have noticed I'm also ridiculously overdressed for the casting desk. Sorry, had to hot foot my way over here from the main stage. But great, coming just after Seat Story Cup and BlizzCon obviously last year as well. Artosis is he's making a bit of a name for himself in the Hearthstone world, obviously. And I have a feeling we're going to see some fun with these two players.
Yeah, I think so as well. Coming off the back of our little StarCraft cast there, Artosis said it brilliantly. It's Blizzard magic all the way when it comes to the games. But Hearthstone here, this is the first time actually I've got a chance to actually take a little bit of a delve into the casting.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a very straightforward bracket here. It's semi-finals into grand finals, with lower bracket obviously going on as well. Lothar versus Artosis will be our first game. We'll have Sinex versus Nimsh coming up after that as well. So some well-known faces, well, two well-known faces, and two guys that came through the qualifiers as well. So one from the Polish bracket, obviously, and one from the European. Sinex coming through that one as well. It is single elimination bracket. Don't get too confused with the double elimination stuff. It's straightforward single elim, 2 semi-finals, third, fourth playoff, and a grand final. I'm not quite sure whether we'll show you the third, fourth game right now, but we'll definitely be showing you the final. We also have a guest commentator for that one. I'm not even going to tell you who that is because it's kind of nice. It's kind of special. So what are you looking forward to here then?
I'm just looking forward to seeing how these guys are going to open. Obviously, best of 5. Winning deck stays on from that point on here. And Artosis, I mean, I've known the guy for quite a while now, being in StarCraft 2. And, you know, he always ends up talking to me about the Hearthstone stuff that he's doing.
I noticed this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're prepping backstage usually.
Yeah, he's certainly got into it really, really well.
Yeah,
and Artosis, from his StarCraft background, is a great mind.
Just seeing him on screen right now, that may be the classiest looking pro player you've ever seen. I mean, you know, forget the fact that he's got TT e.sport sponsorship. He's there in his suit straight from the stage. I love that. It's great. Lothar, on the other hand, came through the Polish qualifier. I don't know how difficult that might have been, but local scene here seems to be quite popular. Definitely like the game. Yeah, it's nice to see a guy come through a local qualifier. We also have Sinex, who came through the European qualifiers, which was a tough one by all accounts. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes up against Nimsh a little bit later on. What decks do you think we're going to be seeing here on the open? Well,
well, we already know. Wow.
We now know.
Okay, actually, both of them opening up with Warrior, and noticeably Big Game Hunter in there for Artosis by the looks of things, if these line up correctly, which means that he's probably actually put that in to replace the Tinkmaster, as Tinkmaster recently got a little bit of a hit. It's a little bit less powerful now, and we are going to be getting into this in just a second.
Yep, not long now. And we'll get game 1 underway. These are best of 5, by the way. Single elimination. $2,000 for first place, $1,000 second, $600 third, and $400 for fourth. No one goes home empty-handed in this one, unlike the StarCraft from earlier on.
That's true. That's true. SOS taking that, doing very well for himself.
You mean $0?
Yeah, he's pretty strong, man. But I'm very interested to see the full mulligan from these two guys, because they do now realize that they are playing Warrior against Warrior, and we already see that Lothar opened up with his... it looks like as if he actually coined the armor there. And then, obviously, Artosis going for the Armorsmith to start things off. We'll have to see what Lothar wants to do now. Against Armorsmith, it can be a little tricky when you've only got 3 mana available to you.
Yeah, that 4 house making it a little bit tough to get off the board.
Yeah. I mean, technically speaking, if he really wanted to clear it very, very quickly, he could armor up and then shield slam it. But in this situation, since they're both very likely to be similar decks, saving a shield slam for later on for bigger minions is always very important. And it looks like he's just going to armor up and pass that for now.
Yeah, so no card. Baron's gone into his hand as well.
Oh, my apologies, he didn't coin that before. Yeah, we missed the first turn, so it was a little bit deceiving.
Turn, unfortunately, so we couldn't work out.
Yeah.
So all right. Reasonable start, nothing too shaky to start with, though. Yeah,
the draws here for Control Warrior. Obviously, it doesn't really help a Control Warrior a whole lot because they are so top-heavy with the dragons, with Grom, Gohowl even as well in there. And the thing is that Yeti provides a very, very big threat at this point to Lothar, as dealing with the Yeti and it being coined out as quickly as we've seen it here from Artosis, there's no really good way of dealing with a Yeti at this point in the game. So it's going to be up to Lothar to really figure this out. As you can see, he's taking a lot of thought over this.
Yeah, he is. He just wants to figure this out
I mean, he's kind of just stuck in a tight bind.
Yeah.
With the 2 slams there, yes, he could use them and draw cards, but that doesn't really get him in a good position. He doesn't have anything to clear this out, and even if he would want to do some damage to the Yeti to try and bring that down, anything he does damage to is going to give Artosis a good position here because he's just going to gain armor. So I think right now we're seeing a very, very good opener here and a good little bit of a lead for Artosis.
Apologies for you. We've got one of our screens is a little bit blurry. It's blurry for us too, unfortunately. We'll see if we can't fix that as we go along. So just a couple of house reductions and that's about it. Oh dear. Hello.
Yeah, that's a little bit sad. Okay, so he's actually going to just slam that into Shield's slam, which in the end, you know, look at Artosis. I mean, he's quite happy with that. Getting that kind of trade is pretty good. Obviously, he did have to coin that out, but still, it's a good trade for him. He just saw a Shield Slam being used on his Yeti. Very, very nice. Equips himself with that little Fiery War Axe and gives it right on up.
Yeah, there's a couple of small trades back and forwards.
Oh, these draws for Lothar.
Yeah, these draws are not helping him at all. His high mana card's not... He's not what he wants right now. He's got very little option. With 5 mana there, just the 2 cards, and I mean, he's not in a terrible position right now. It's not like he's getting dominated off the board, but
I mean, the one thing for Lothar that's going in his favor right now is that technically in 2 turns' time, he will have the ability to drop down Gorehowl, which can clear up that Armor Smith much easier than anything else he has right now. So that's one thing, but other than that, there's not a whole lot. He's going to throw down the Acolyte of Pain and slam it himself, so he's going to draw 2 cards off that, which is nice. Yeah. It gives him a little bit more options.
Yeah, up to 6 mana next time. He's going to have a few more options next turn. Well, Artosis.
Strike.
And he will end up killing that off. It's a really nice position to be in as a control warrior. I mean, look away from the position Lothar is in, and when you have a 1/1 Acolyte of Pain, you're always like, well, you know, he's going to kill it off, obviously, and he's very unlikely to have silences in his control warrior deck as well. So you always know you're going to get another card there. But this Frothing Berserker does provide a little bit of a headache once again, as it's always going to... There's no ability here for Lothar to really deal with a whole lot. All the draws that he got before.
Yeah, a few more options though this time round, so...
I mean, with all these cards he just drew, with Whirlwind, Cruel Taskmaster, and Acolyte of Pain, he has a lot of draw power in that, because, you know, he would end up doing like 1 damage to his Acolyte of Pain, but then equally, if he did this, the Frothing Berserker would get a big buff as well. So still in a really tight position.
I still don't like having too many high mana cards like that early on. I mean, we're getting more mana. So he's 6 right now, 7 next, and then it really does start opening the board up. But with 5 cards to choose from right now, he's got a choice. He can put 3 out if he really wanted to, but I don't know.
I think the play end up might being something like Calm Bloodhoof here, just because it fits nicely with the mana curve.
Yeah.
Control warriors in general have a bit of a shaky mana curve. It starts around that 5. You don't really have anything. You have like Brawl, and if you end up running a Faceless, something like that after the Tinkmaster change could be something that you would go to. But at that early on with a Faceless, it's a bit difficult. So he's kind of a little bit stuck. He's, again, thinking about this very carefully. He has a few options. I think he has to try and do the Cairn, but again, Artosis has good Brawl control, and there he's going to go for the Cairn.
Yeah. So, Acolyte Pain comes out for Artosis, who has a nice mix right now. I like the look of that. Doesn't have any 6 mana cards, but that doesn't really matter right now.
The thing is that he could get rid of this Cairn really quickly.
Could destroy that and still have plenty of options as well.
Yeah, he has a Shield Slam, could bring that down and then activate Banebloodhoof. And then from there, it's the damage to Cairn does buff up the Frothing Berserker so he could kill it off. So that trade is probably a good option here for him. As will he go for the Acolyte of Pain? If he does do that, there's not
thinking about it.
Yeah,
he's thinking. Let's just see. Yeah, so Acolyte of Pain is played.
Okay.
And he's going to get rid of this. This is going to be done.
Oh
no, maybe not. So
okay.
interesting. Well, I mean, he's still 3-1 on the board, so he knows that he can't get rid of everything on the board anyway.
Well, he kind of forces his opponent's hand in this situation.
Yeah, he does. He makes him play.
Because if he leaves the Throttling Berserker there, then it keeps getting buffed up, right? It keeps getting buffed up.
Every time.
But now, Lothar, again, pretty stuck, has to eliminate the threat of a Throttling Berserker, maybe by training his Bane Bloodhoof away, and still...
I get scared, though, when you start seeing this kind of power cards, and, you know, that's 10 health to get rid of off 3 already, and he's at 30 and 9 armor. It's like, hang on a minute, this game's getting away from me right now.
I mean, he still has Gorehowl. He could play Gorehowl and try and break a little bit of this board up. Keep the Bane Bloodhoof alive.
Kalaris, I think he needs to start trying to take back some of the control, but Artosis is in a great position.
He's still a little bit stuck, really is. I mean, there is technically Sylvanas here, but using Sylvanas at this point, you don't want to be going for these minions with the activation, with their abilities. It's not really the best of positions. Again, thinking very deeply about this, because right now, not a whole lot of options. You can't use Geddon. That's a bit strange. He's going to go for the Acolyte of Pain and activate it here with the Cruel Taskmaster for another draw.
Yeah. This is wise. I mean,
But now that he does that, he still buffs up the Throttling, so he has to kill it. He absolutely has to.
He has to get rid of it now.
Yeah.
And will.
And Artosis knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah,
Any other way.
I think he pretty much played for that 2 turns ago, so...
It's always nice to have the Fiery War Axe to kill off these in one shot, or at least the Acolyte of Pain. Only forcing out 1 card from your opponent is certainly better than anything else. Now we move over to Artosis' turn.
That's a nice round.
All right.
Let's see now. So we're up to 7 mana.
Ah.
And already, look at this. No messing around from Artosis whatsoever.
Yeah, he left himself in a little bit of a bind there. I mean, technically Artosis should have known that Baron Geddon was in his opponent's deck. So leaving them at 2-2, he may have anticipated this kind of move and knew that Baron Geddon was coming out. Obviously, you need to have that in there to be able to deal with any Shamans that would come along.
Okay, so plenty of options for Lothar now, but a long way back now. I mean, 18 points down, staring at 6 health on the board. Really does need to come up with something magical right now.
At this point, we still see like a lot of control for Artosis. Actually, no. Now that I say all that, that got mixed up, because if the Baron Geddon is on Artosis' side of things, my apologies for that. A little bit of a mix-up there. So, yeah. Reverse everything I just said in the past 2 minutes.
I kind of knew what you said, but I was like,
oh dear.
I think you're talking about Artosis, so I'm going to leave you there.
Yeah.
I actually ended up throwing it on the bus, so that's fine.
That's fine by me. That's fine by me, man. It's my first time.
Mine too. Yeah, we're learning as we go, I guess.
All right. Regardless, Lothar's still stuck.
Indeed. He is still in a bind right now, and a long way back from Artosis, and he knows it as well.
He's so heavily buffed up, and then if Artosis draws any kind of shield slams, for example, if he wants to throw out one of his bigger minions here to try and do some damage, it's always, unless he went straight for face, it's always going to do a lot of damage to him. So there's still a lot of board clear potential out of Artosis on draws, but everything that Lothar plays from now, okay, he's going to try and get rid of the Geddon, because it's too much of a problem. Yeah. And countering it with his Geddon is actually quite nice.
Yep, with +3 health advantage on it as well, so, okay.
But still, look at the positions we're in with health. Yeah. It's a really tough time here for Lothar to recover in game number 1.
Yeah. So Artosis, again, straight back in.
I was thinking about the XQ there for a second.
And then he's put it back.
I mean, at this point, he has enough armor and enough position to just trade that away for the Fiery War Axe, I feel. But he's just going to keep his armor alive. Is he really going to shield block?
Really? Okay. Well, he's just going to make...
It gives him the draw. That's the thing.
I mean, he's just going to make sure he's absolutely safe right now. He's got 46 effectively with a 16 armor on it. against 13. I think this game's pretty much done in terms of where Lothar is right now. He's running out of options. He's still got plenty of cards. He's still got options on the board, but it's a long way back from here.
It is interesting that we saw Artosis open up with Warrior, though. During Six Story Cup, he was opening up very heavily with Warlocks, throwing a Druid in there or so. Druid normally the all-round go-to, but both Warriors here, and
he's also the only one of the 4 running a Shaman as well, so I don't know whether we'll see that. Obviously, its deck stays on, so you know, if this ends up 3-0, we're not going to see anything.
This is a strong start from Artosis, absolutely. And now Lothar here is just weighing up his options. I mean, at this point, he could equip Fiery War Axe. There's really no point throwing down the Sylvanas because Artosis could quite easily remove that without its activation occurring and it being enabled to actually steal something when there's nothing on the board. So he has to use this mana, though. He has to make use of it somehow. And I think he goes for Frothing Berserker. Anything else is a little bit suspect. And there he goes.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly what he plays. Now.
All right.
Huh. That's got the Artosis eyebrows raised.
Well, we do have good enabling for Grom here, but that's a little bit too early. You always want to save that Grom for the killing blow, as straight to face. And with Cruel Taskmaster buffing that up onto the on next turn, of course, when he does have 10 mana, would give it 12 damage. But just going to trade away here with a Shield Slam, and then from there on gets himself a Khan. Actually, that wouldn't be too bad, as he will get away with this Frothing Berserker and then have full board control. That's a good play here, a good draw.
Yeah, really nice draw for him. Exactly the right time as well.
All right, Faceless. This is we're seeing this Faceless from Lothar again. It's mostly due to the Tinkmaster change. It's like if you can't turn a Khan Bloodhoof, which is the prime target for Tinkmaster, into the 1/1 Squirrel or even the 5/5 Devil Saw, then Faceless is the best here to replicate that. It's like, well, you know, well, it's the best to deal with Khan Bloodhoof, I mean, to say, you have one, I have one. Great stuff. But
yeah, I think, if memory doesn't escape me, Lothar played
his count?
Played one earlier, didn't he?
Yes, oh yes,
yeah,
yes.
He
yes.
did, yeah.
That was cleaned up pretty easily by Artosis.
It was pretty much the next turn, so.
Yeah. Lothar was really stuck with that one because Artosis had the correct response instantaneously. Yeah. So
and he's been a little bit lucky with the draw as well, I have to say. I mean, not that he's not a long way ahead. I mean, he is a long way ahead right now.
Like, I mean, if for example, I mean, let's just throw this out there. If for example he had something like, if he were to shield block and get really lucky and get an execute, then actually no, he would also need the shield slam as well. So still, this is really odd for him. I think it might have to be the Faceless.
I get the feeling that he has started to realise that one wrong move here, and it might be curtains. If it's not already. I mean, as we said, he's a long way back. Has that 7 armor back on again.
All right, this is a bit of desperation.
Yeah, this is a stab in the dark a little bit here.
I mean, yes, obviously a great effect, kills off quite a bit, but still, with that, he has enough. He could just shield slam this and kill it off instantly. So, or he could whirlwind and execute. That's a little bit less efficient in terms of what he has on the board right now because he has 8 armor.
Yeah.
What now?
So, I mean, a shield slam from this, and then straight into having board control right now with Khan Bloodhoof. And Artosis has to be thinking, why, what was going through Lothar's mind?
Yeah, and
when
what else does he have, frankly, as well, is the other question.
But when it came to trying to deal with this Khan Bloodhoof, because if you don't have any answer for it, he thought long and hard about that to try and deal with it.
Oh, we're going to see the Faceless now.
If he does that, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Having 2 Khan Bloodhoofs on the table would be a pain.
It wouldn't be nice. He is going to go for the Faceless as well, so... well...
And, he can still shield slam.
Yeah,
he can
can
still shield slam. So,
And he's going to do it as well. So,
yeah.
Okay, well, bye-bye. And
there's just no answer for these Cairn
there isn't, and there is pretty much nothing that Lothar can do from that position. But
Big Game Hunter coming out.
Still in the game.
Right. Well, I mean, he can faceless himself and have his own Cairn Bloodhoof out.
Yes, he can.
But Big Game Hunter's really not going to help him out in this situation either. So not the best of draws there to be able to deal with this.
Let's just see now.
Not too much mana available to him in terms of trying to make big plays right now to get him back into it. Artosis has got to feel comfortable. He's got to feel comfortable here.
Certainly got a lot to deal with on the board anyway. But he's got plenty of options here, Katowice, though. I mean,
anything he does is gonna, I mean, if you go for Gore Howl and try and hit something, you're taking a lot of damage yourself. Grom isn't in lethal range right now, so there's very little point of doing that. He's gonna armor up and look for another card. He gets a shield slam. That's actually
that's nice. Has already used one though.
Yeah.
Which he used to wipe out that previous.
But still, dealing with 2 Cairn Bloodhoofs on the field, on the board even, sorry.
My mistake, actually. He didn't use the slam last time. It was Artosis did, actually.
Well, again, coming back to that, I was just having to deal with this situation is very, very difficult. And he's having to think about it long and hard. Anything he does here is really not too efficient. You never... He's going to try and steal one. Oh, okay.
That's a nice move, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reasonable.
It is a good move. It is a good move.
Artosis, he's a well player, and it's like for like now.
Well, these guys were a little bit better than me, so they did foresee that a bit, or Lothar saw that a little bit better. But the interesting thing about that now is that because he has Faceless, technically he could flip this situation around and have his own 2 Cairn Bloodhoofs on the field. Artosis does have to think about this. And, wait, no. So, he has technically the ability to it sounds a tad bizarre. Cruel Taskmaster, execute, then hit it with. No, you can't do that because then you'd lose your own, and then, well, you'd still have a Bane Bloodhoof. Okay, so sorry, I'm theorizing things in my head.
It's okay. We're listening, and I'm in the same position.
All right, so
it's all good.
Technically, he has a shield block which you could draw from, but he's going to go for the Gore Howl here. And
which is what you said he would do originally.
Buff it up with the Cruel Taskmaster. Is he really going to go for face with this?
He's going to go for that. Ooh.
All right, this leaves him in a bit of a bad spot.
Yeah.
And again, because he now forces his opponent into this position.
Lothar's face is a picture right now. He's looked at that and gone, yeah.
Going for face is really good because he puts Lothar in a very uncomfortable spot. Of course, he has a bit of board clear with that execute. Could get rid of that that Grom very, very quickly. He could actually even faceless it first and then kill it off, which would. But he's always in lethal range. That's the problem. That's the big problem for him here. So any option that he really takes is still leaving him in lethal range, and he's just going to die next turn. It's
it is. It's hard to see where he goes from here without actually leaving himself exposed on the next turn anyway.
Okay, so he needs to get rid of Khan and then into Bane, but he also needs to get rid of Grom. So Big Game Hunter can get rid of Grom, and then he has Cruel Taskmaster to do a little bit of damage to Khan Bloodhoof. Then he can execute it, and then from there could Whirlwind and then trade that Khan Bloodhoof that he has away for the Bane that was left remaining. But it's a long shot because he's still not going to have much health left.
Yeah, it is a long shot. Gotta go for it though.
Wait, can that even be done with the mana? 3, 1, 4, 5, 6.
10.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
So it's an elaborate plan, There would still be a Cruel Taskmaster left on the board with 1 health.
Wait, what?
Because this Cruel Taskmaster here will be left throughout all of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's only got 3 health to play with. That's what he's going to be thinking right now.
Yeah, basically. And it's really uncomfortable for Lothar here.
Yeah,
Look at him. He's having to think this one out once again.
I mean, I don't see a way out. I really don't. Let's just see. Currently, he's thinking hard as well. I can feel the cogs going from here. Artosis sitting pretty confident right now. Knows he isn't just in the driving seat. He's in a Rolls Royce.
All right. Well, we've theorized what he can do. Obviously, there's still the other option of facelessing Grom, but it's not going to work because he doesn't have enough mana to get the board clear, and then he just dies.
Save himself, yeah.
Yeah. He can't win, unfortunately, here, can Lothar, but he's trying to mull up all of the expectations. And then from here on out, Artosis just goes 1 up, and Lothar, in this best of 5, is going to have to move on to another deck. Really taking his time over this, rivaling Mr. Monk and Trump for their time taken in turns. Okay. So I think he's going to execute the plan that I initially mentioned, but he's going to do it by throwing the cairn away first against his opponent's cairn. Oh! Well, this was part of the idea. Okay. So, long story short, what I explained before, that's what he's doing. And this does leave him now with that 2-1 Cruel Taskmaster, of course. A good move there by Lothar. His best option. Absolutely his best option.
Yeah. So leaves himself with 5-2. Artosis is 15 and 10. Artosis, though, already considering the shield block again, and does.
He can just kill him. He just kills him with Go Howl. GG.
And done. And all done. Thank you very much. GG. Game number 1 goes over to Artosis. So despite all of that thinking from Lothar at the end of the game, and pretty much executing almost exactly what you said, still to no avail.
In the end there, when it comes to Control Warrior versus Control Warrior, Artosis just established board presence very, very fast because Lothar didn't really have anything to throw down on the board. That's one of the disadvantages with Control Warrior. If you get unlucky, drawing all of those big minions earlier on is a pain. And in the end, a top deck Gore Howl isn't too bad to finish him off.
Very nice. So, what are we going to see next from Lothar? Deck gone, and 2 decks remaining. They've each got 3 decks, of course, for the for the matches. His warrior is done.
Now it's going to be interesting to see what Lothar actually brings out here.
What are the 3 decks he declared?
Okay, so I believe he does have a handlock available to him, which is just in general very good against all control decks. You have a lot of big minions to play against. I would not be surprised in the slightest if we saw handlock here for Lothar.
I just saw Artosis' decks.
Oh yes, we did.
Yeah.
He has a
Shaman, Druid, Warrior.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he does have the Shaman in the back as well.
So it's going to be the handlock here from Lothar. And Artosis' expression there, he's like, oh dear me. And he gets a really bad hand at the beginning, so has to mulligan all of that out. There's no way he could play with that.
Hey, that's a bit easier though. That's a reasonable starting.
Also, one of the interesting... actually, now that I look at that, these are the wrong way round. I did wonder at the very...
They actually are on the wrong way round.
Yeah.
It was Lothar who had the low star.
Yeah.
3-2-1 and...
I did wonder about that before, because I spoke to Artosis before about his transition from Tinkmaster, and he would like to deal with it with Faceless, but we saw the mulligan initially from Lothar in the first game where there was Big Game Hunter, and I was surprised that Artosis would have had that in his deck. So those were slightly awry. Okay, so let me get back to this. Handlock, very good against Control Warrior. We saw Artosis' expression there. He was pretty worried. Unfortunately for Artosis, well actually no, fortunately I will say, once we get these moves going. You, as a warrior, just going up against any Warlock deck, you have to assume it's going to be aggro, but because Lothar used this Warlock against a Control Warrior, he knows it's a hand lock from Lothar, because he knows Lothar isn't stupid.
Good theories.
All right, so what have we got? Let's assess the situation. Always life tapping here, very, very quickly for the hand lock, and he does draw himself a Mountain Giant, which is nice. And just going to go straight and silence his Ancient Watcher. Always a nice little combo there. All right, this is going to be a hard, this is going to be a hard game for Artosis, I feel. Not too much that he can do with the Baron Geddon. He now has a position where he could technically put down Chillwind Yeti, but at the same time, he might actually want to get rid of that. Well, I was about to say he might want to get rid of the Watcher, but I feel that you have to save Execute some board clear here against those bigger minions that he knows are going to be coming out.
Yeah.
Like the Twilight Drakes, like those big Mountain Giants, like those Molten Giants later on in the game, of course, but there's so many big minions that Artosis has to factor into this, and certainly not overreact to a simple Watcher.
This is just thinking about his next move. Only on 4 mana right now as well, so early days, as Kalara said, still plenty of options, and he's...
What now?
I like how Lothar played this, though. You know, he didn't overextend.
Do you mean the opening?
Yeah. I mean, he had a Twilight Drake in hand, which he, you know, which can always come into play pretty quickly in this kind of deck because of how many cards that you have, and also, well, he didn't have the mana for it in the end, and now he does.
Yes.
And it's a big minion to throw out at this point. It is. So he will be baiting out some board clear from his opponent pretty fast. And, well, that Acolyte of Pain certainly doesn't want to be... if he hits that, the thing is, with the Owl, then he does end up getting himself at least 1 card. And he's already used a Silence, so obviously he can't silence another Acolyte of Pain unless he had a second Owl in there, which he... I assume he does. I assume he does here in this position. But somewhere in his deck, just not in his hand.
Yeah, obviously not now. So, Artosis 1 up already. Under a little bit of pressure, but nothing he can't deal with right now.
I mean, he might have to just... Well, okay.
Oh,
this is a good play. I didn't see it,
you're going to
actually.
get the taunt on this as well.
Yeah.
And it's not...
I don't know why I didn't see that. That's so obvious in the end.
It's not significant, but it's nice for control. I mean, I like the taunts because...
Brawl. All right.
Yeah,
This is the thing, is that, I mean, it's still early days. He might end up he's just going to go for the slam.
He's use the slam first.
But with the Brawl, you never want to overextend against a Control Warrior as the hand lock here, because you know that Brawl is available to the Control Warrior. So... certainly doesn't want to be playing a lot of minions very vigorously against Artosis here. That's for sure. And he can kill one of these off with the Cruel Taskmaster, but it's a little bit of a downside to him. As I say, he's the tides have been turned, really.
They have. I was going to say it's almost a complete swap round from the previous game. And,
it's just so hard to play against handlock with control. A lot of control decks in general.
Yeah, Artosis is not liking this at all. Really uncomfortable position for him to be in.
And he finds himself on that. In this turn, of course, he finds himself on that 5 mana, so it's... but he's going to kill that off. Just suppress a little bit of the damage that will be coming his way in the next turn. All right, let's see what Mr. Lothar is going to be up to. In just a second.
Eventually.
There we go. Hey,
it's
okay.
coming.
Twilight Drake. Nice little choice. With the Cruel Taskmaster not being there technically, like not being in his hand still, it alleviates the pressure of it doing 1 damage to him and then an execute going down. I imagine Artosis is going to want to try and get rid of that pretty soon, but he's just going to use the Shield Slam for the draw here, and we can't actually see his hand right now, so...
We're a little out of sync at the moment, but that's fine.
Yeah,
we'll come back now. If we leave it alone, it'll be good.
That's a good trade-off.
Yeah. Now we need to go back the other way.
That was a good trade-off, and a very, very efficient turn there for him.
There we go.
All right, we're back on Lothar now. So technically can get rid of the Cruel Taskmaster pretty fast during all of this. And then he knows that a Shield Slam has just been utilized. So something like a Mountain Giant.
Yeah, I was going to say, when would you play that?
I mean, in terms of the mana curve, now is a great turn to do it, because he knows a Shield Slam has gone out of his opponent's hand. Obviously, Warriors, controllers do have a lot of clear.
Yeah, and it is going to be Mountain Giant.
All right. He's thinking about it. I mean, the thing is that he wants to hit his opponent straight because he wants to bring down the armor.
Yes.
So that just in case there was a second Shield Slam in there, he couldn't armor straight up to 8 unless he had. But he's going to go straight for that. So it's a little bit of a decision to whether you want to clear the board. And he's now left himself at the mercy of if there was a Shield Slam with the armor, he could clean up that Giant quite quickly.
Luckily for him, not there.
Luckily for him, indeed.
But Baron Geddon is on the board.
Huh. All right. Well, this is a very, very clever move, just in general, because now the Giant can only really go for face without killing itself off, because of the spell there from Baron Geddon. And unfortunately for him, even Defender of Argus doesn't even save him in this point, because it would still only go up to 7 health. Oh, wait, no, actually, now that I say that, he could Defender of Argus it and then heal it up with Earthen Farseer, and then find himself in a position where he could trade off the Baron Geddon without actually losing the Giant. And I think that's what he might do.
See? And what do you know?
It's a good move. Looking at his hand, it's the best move he has to hand right now.
Yeah, and those taunts are now going to be
horrible
to play against. I hate seeing that.
Oh, slam. Well, technically, you can get rid of, but he may end up playing Brawl.
He did say it 2 turns ago as well, so...
Yeah, if he plays Brawl here, he has a good chance of getting rid of that, and he is going to.
Yeah.
Playing Brawl when there's only, 3. Oh, and he does get it. Okay.
Yeah,
so last one going on him.
Well...
That's nice.
Yeah, and Lothar's not going to like that,
but still, you can't let the handlock get out of control, and that's the prime reason as to why he did that.
Yeah.
Lothar knew that the roll was coming eventually, and now it's dissipated, so now it's gone. Goes into life tap, has 2 Siphon lives. Wow, his board clear is very strong at this point. All right, well, looks like it's just going to be the chill win Yeti from here. Double, in fact.
Doubles.
And, well, from here on out, he does have the ability to... Wait, let's have a look-see. So he's got Shadow Flame in there. It would only bring him down to...
than I have, because I
it's a little bit blurry, right?
It is, unfortunately. I can't even see the cards.
Lothar's face there after drawing Leroy doesn't really help him in this situation. He could... No, let's not talk about Leroy at this point. All right, let's see what he's going to do. Even if he were to do something like Shadow Flame, it would only bring them down to 1 health. And then he doesn't have the mana for something like a Shadow Flame Hellfire, but that's a big, big waste of clear here in that regard. So, but he still has 2 Siphon lives, so the hand that we're seeing from Lothar, he just picked the right deck going into this, and that's in tournament play for Hearthstone. That's really what it's about. Countering. It's not like ladder in Hearthstone. You're just going up against some random guy who's playing Hunter aggro over and over and over, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'll switch.
So it's not just me that comes up against that then?
Yeah, they're doing good now in the recent meta.
Yeah, they are.
They are doing good. All right, well, decisions, Lothar. What are you going to do? Artosis has done well to stick around the amount of health that he's got, but...
Yeah, 13-3 right now, and early on it did look like he was in, a lot of trouble, but card difference-wise...
Yes, exactly. That's the big problem.
Yeah, he hasn't got a great deal to choose from right now, as Lothar has plenty of options, so...
Yes, he does. All right, he's going to play the Armor Smith here. because if anything were to be cleared, then he would gain quite a substantial amount of armor from losing all of these cards. But the thing is, the problem here for Artosis is that with the amount of cards that we're seeing in Lothar's hand right now, he's anticipating at least one Siphon Life being in there. And you can't just throw Ragnaros down and, yay, he did 8 damage, but then he's going to get Siphon Life and then he heals up and it goes away. So, really quite stuck. He can do a little bit of face damage, that's great, but aside from that, there's not too many options.
Yeah, it's odd how it's turned around on him, because he had plenty of board clear early, and then now he doesn't need it, really.
It's all been expended. It's all been expended, pretty much. I'm unsure as to how much he has actually left in his deck from here on out. But right now he doesn't have it in his hand, and that's not a good position to be in.
So, passes over with 6 mana in there as well.
So much potential here in his hand.
Yeah.
So much potential.
Pick the bones out of that one.
Well, all right.
Take a deep breath and tell me what you do. That's tough, right? Do you, honestly, do you prefer it when you get to this position and you actually do have that many options, or do you think it's actually sometimes easier when you have not quite so little cards as Artosis has got now, but
well,
just, you know, you're almost guided by the mana curve and you're guided by what you've got in your hand. But at the moment, I mean, he literally could go anywhere with this.
Chillwind's full health, especially like the middle one, do present a bit of a problem here for Lothar, because his clear in the Hellfire, for example, isn't really... It will clean up 2 of those minions, but not fully. And then if he wants to Soulfire something, he really doesn't have too many minions to actually... Oh, wait, he could Soulfire Leroy, now that I look at it. He could Soulfire Leroy, and that would clear the board entirely. Yeah, I think he's thinking about that.
Yeah, and although he's behind on health, I actually feel like he has... If he does this, he has the advantage because of the cards.
Yeah, I think this is the best option. Considering what he has, clearing the board, and Lothar shouting Leroy Jenkins. All right, he goes for the face, goes for the Shadow Flame. Bye-bye board.
Very nice.
That's the best play there.
Very nice. Nicely done by Lothar, and particularly enjoyed the Leroy Jenkins shout as well. So, 20 health, plays 26 with 5 armor. Artosis now with good options now, and immediately gets a good draw and will use that draw to great effect, reducing him to 15 already. I mean, he didn't have anything else. Well, he did have something else, but
he's anticipating Siphon Life now.
Yes, he is.
Like,
I think, do you think he's just trying to draw that card out now, knowing how many cards behind he is?
Yeah, well, I think his plan here is probably Alex Straza with that, obviously. Then force out the Siphon Life, and then hope that his opponent only has 1 Siphon Life in his hand, then throw down Ragnaros to try and get around that. But
yeah, hopefully we'll switch over to Lothar in a second.
There we go. All right. Sorry about that, fellas, but we are now back in.
Oh, hello, Molten Giant.
The thing is that because his hand is so abundant, he has so many options available, he doesn't even have to use Siphon Life. And this is a good move. And he, once again, doesn't bait out Siphon Life. So now Artosis is like, well, damn it.
Yeah, where is it? Is it, or does he even have it? But with the amount of cards he has right now, you'd assume that he... I think Artosis is assuming that he has one, right?
Yeah, he must do. He absolutely must do. All right, Artosis is still a little bit stuck. Really doesn't have a whole lot of options. Let's think about this.
Yeah. 15 health.
The thing is if he played Grom with Cruel Taskmaster, he would bring his opponent down to 3 life.
Yeah, exactly. But so, does he risk doing that and then put him under pressure?
Well, he's either going to get the kill on this Molten Giant. Artosis has played this out really well. Let's not forget this. He's played this out really, really well.
I mean,
hit...
You're right. No, he was under a lot of pressure early on. Oh, dear.
Okay, this is scary now, because this now puts Lothar in lethal range in the next turn.
Yep.
But he has a Sun Fury Protector. That can save him. That really can. And obviously he has Draxus as well. So Lothar still has options available. Bringing that Draxus down, putting him at 15 health once again, while still having that Molten Giant out and being able to clean up the Ragnaros.
It's certainly put Lothar under a bit of pressure here. I mean,
but he could just Ragnaros and Sun Fury Protector.
Yeah.
He would have, well, technically he would have to trade the Molten Giant away, but then he would have, wow, you don't really want to give Ragnaros Taunt, but it's such a big minion. There's no real. But I think he has to think about lethal. I really do think he has to think about lethal here. There's no other way around it. He has to somehow get out of that because he still doesn't know what those 3 cards are. They could be. With a draw coming along, Artosis could get really lucky. He has Grom in his hand, he has Cruel Taskmaster. Obviously that would take up the mana. But then he has to think about the next turns. Does he have any board clear in there as well? And all this is going through Lothar's mind right now.
Let's just see. Tense moment for him because he's already 1-0 down. Doesn't want to go 2-0 down at this stage either. I do remember as well, there was $2,000 for first place, $1,000 for second as well. You do get some money for third and fourth though, and here we go.
Okay.
So.
The thing is that okay. So all in all, that cleans up the board and leaves him with 2 taunts. He can't clean up these 2 taunts too effectively. Gore Howl, all right. So he could technically Whirlwind, kill off this taunt, and then hit straight onto the Molten Giant with Gore Howl to then deal with that. And then he has the combo for later on because there's no taunt. Artosis could actually win this.
Yes.
Very, very nicely.
I wonder.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's figured it out as well.
Look at him. He's.
Yeah, no, he knows.
I know Artosis' expressions. I've known him for so long.
He's figuring it out now. He's working the numbers.
This is dual, like, unless we see a taunt here. But then he... Yeah, this is what he's going to do. He's going to try and go for this. He has that available to him later on, but still Draxus can save him from this spot because he goes straight up back to 15 health.
Oh, okay. So taunts are gone. The protection's gone.
When I said he could do this, he thinks he could do this.
Yeah, and now Lothar, it's now or never, I'm afraid.
Oh, if he played Molten Giant and then into Draxus, that would be sick. I'm enjoying myself. My first time casting Hearthstone.
Yeah, no, I can tell. I'm letting you do most of the speaking because I'm
probably not on point all the time, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, you know, it's a small invitational tournament that we were asked to enjoy, and Intel would like to support Hearthstone, and we would like to do the same. So
yeah, it's nice to have it here.
Yeah, it's great to have it here.
And it's an interesting game to cast from a StarCraft perspective because of the differences in it. StarCraft's just crazy all the time, apart from maybe the first couple of minutes, unless you end up seeing some really tough aggression. But anyway, let's pass on from that, as for now, Lothar's still thinking about his position. He knows he's in lethal range if his opponent has the right combination, which is the big difference maker.
He must know. But with only 2 cards, yeah, he might think, hang on, this might be worth a gamble.
I think here it has to be Molten Giant into Draxus. Because, well, yeah. Molten Giant, just Draxus, get yourself back up to 15 health, keep yourself safe. Because nothing, I really don't think so, that Artosis has in his hand right now could do 15 damage.
No, it's going to be the draw that's going to be the difference.
There's only the max of 12 damage there. And this is the play. There we go. I did hear that double sound there for a second.
He did.
We are trying to fix that, by the way, guys.
Yeah, no, hopefully it'll get done.
But wait,
So
no, he has Gore Howl. He has lethal.
ranks.
What am I on about? He has Gore Howl all this while.
He has. Had it all the time, and that is GG. Oh dear.
See, told you I missed 1 or 2 things.
Yeah.
I didn't think about the Gore Howl, but it's there, and now Artosis goes 2 up in this best of 5.
And he played that one really well.
Yeah, that was really
close. When you think back to how early it was, and he was getting all that aggression, he was really under pressure, and you thought, yeah, and he looked a little bit uncomfortable, and doesn't look uncomfortable now, does he?
I mean, there's the mantra in Hearthstone of missing lethal, and seemingly I miss lethal there.
Yeah.
When it comes
it's
to
all right. We forgive you. Hello, Polish crowds. Great to have you out for Hearthstone. Great to see you still supporting here, long into the night in Spot Echo. I say long into the night, it's 20 past 9. Obviously 20 minutes past my bedtime, being an old timer. But, you know, great to see all of the Polish fans come out this weekend. They have been tremendous.
Yeah.
All weekend. No matter what the game, no matter where they've been, no matter what part of the stadium they've been in, they've been absolutely tremendous. One of the greatest crowds I've had the privilege to go out to.
All right. Here's the thing, Paul. Now, with Artosis 2-0 up, Lothar was banking on that handlock to defeat his opponent's Control Warrior. And it didn't. Artosis played it really well.
So what's next?
Apparently for me, well, let's see what's next, actually.
Yeah.
Coming
up.
up.
What's next?
I don't know. He's got one deck left, obviously. So we're going to find out in just a second what he actually... Oh, and he's got a Hunter of all things. Huh.
Is it me or does he look like he's frowning right now?
It's not a good position to be in. It certainly isn't. Gonna mulligan away the Owl as well as a kill command, and he gets a kill command straight back. So that's Lothar's been really unlucky. Jeez. But no.
Does have the Hounds in there though, which one of my personal favourite cards.
Yeah. Oh,
you like that? You just sort of let board control go wild, and the other guy starts to think, yeah, I'm totally in control, and then let's unleash those Hounds.
It's the power play behind the Hunter, right? It's absolutely the power play. Gonna coin out. Let's see what he's gonna go for. Okay, so unfortunately for him, doesn't really get the card he does want there.
No.
And a Baron get him.
Yeah, okay, but
for later on, this is a great draw.
He's got great cards for late game, but right now, not a huge amount of options early on. Needs a couple of good draws early.
Like, I mean, all he has to do...
Whereas, on the opposite side, hello, I can play anything I want out of 6 cards.
Yeah, there's a lot of board clear later on here, though, for Artosis.
See, with Hunter as well, I tried several different styles of decks. Low, high, ranged, all sorts of ways of putting them together. And I tell you, you can be really super aggressive when you've got lots of low cards, but the trouble is that you run out. You know what I mean? I've come to games where I've ended up with no cards and having to draw every time, and it's really frustrating.
Especially when you've got the board clear in the hands that Artosis does.
Yeah, and look, Lothar's deck is actually, it does seem to be quite a low mana deck.
He does get a card that he certainly wants there.
Nice.
That's some big damage. Hunter aggro deck, for those people out there that aren't fully aware of what's going on. It's like a timer above his opponent's head. Because of the hero power, the 2 damage straight to face each time, if each turn. Very, very strong. I think he may even want to... the thing is, I think he may even want to hold off on board clear here. To later on use like a brawl against more minions once they're on the field.
You don't think we're going to see the brawl early?
It only kills 1 minion, so it's really not. There's no worth to it from there. So playing the Armorsmith here is a better option than going for any board clear, certainly.
I'm made to fit.
Yeah, it's going to hit the whirlwind next time anyway, so that's fine. This time rather.
That's a good execute in the end. And you don't want to be taking 5 damage.
Of at least 1, yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to be taking 5 damage each turn, especially when his opponent has a lot of potential damage still.
Katowice, again, low mana cards, look at them.
Freezing Trap.
Yeah, Freezing Trap's out. Doesn't want to use Hounds right now either.
Alright, well, he does have Timberwolf there to be able to buff if he wants to, and then try and kill off that the Armorsmith. But he's still... Now he's moving into the territory of high mana.
Indeed, which is why these low mana decks don't... I'm not saying it don't work, but I've always found them very difficult, because as soon as you get into reasonable mana territory, 6, 7, you start... I mean, you're going to use a lot of cards.
Yeah, it's like... Unless this Hunter deck really gained traction for Lothar very, very early against this Control Warrior deck, it was going to be difficult.
Do you play a lot of Hunter, by the way?
I actually don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
I do.
Right.
She's probably why I lose a lot.
Not,
I'm joking. Mine's more to do with how I put my decks together, and I can tell you I'm a nightmare for messing around with them. But
I'm a big fan of a lot of control decks myself.
Yeah,
so watching this warrior play is good.
I like to be aggro.
Yeah? Let's go straight for the face.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit feisty in there. So Timberwolf does come out, which is nice. That'll clear.
Yeah, that was the right option here for what he has.
And the armor will be reduced and...
Ooh.
Really? Okay. All right.
All right, so freezing trap down.
That's nice, yeah.
Now, Artosis may end up assuming that this is...
That's shield block's going to come straight back out of the hand, having just been served it, and he's going to get an Acolyte Pain straight away, and he's going to serve that one at the same time. So, 2 nice draws for 6 mana, that'll do. Again, look at this. This is a low mana deck.
Yeah, he can technically clean out the Acolyte of Pain with just the straight attack there. But
don't forget though, he's still got hounds in there, which means that he might just be tempted to let him have a couple more cards on the board.
And Lothar's still worried.
No, he's not going to let that happen.
Yeah, that's the legit option from there. And Lothar, though, he's still worried about his opponent not having used any board clear. Yeah, obviously, not really a huge amount of reason to do so against only 2 that have been on the field so far. 2 minions, I should say. And now, there you go. Turn 7, kaboom, Baron Geddon, that costs him a lot of problems.
I was going to say, this is where it gets difficult now with this low mana draw again, which is what I was talking about before. You just bide your time, you realise they've got plenty of cards, you play them out, you draw the cards out every time, and then as soon as you get to 7 mana, start hitting them hard.
I mean, Christmas came early for him when he grew that Baron Geddon. He saw that and he was... That's a killer card here for Lothar. Unless he can deal with that somehow, unless he gets a kill command with a beast on the field, then there's really not a whole lot.
Oh my goodness.
That will end up triggering quite a bit if you go straight for phase, so it's a good play to go for that.
Yeah, bow, I mean, he needed that bow, he really did. And at least the aggro is coming out, that's for sure, which puts Artosis under a little bit more pressure, but in terms of, I mean, just look at the low mana in the cards. I keep saying it, but jeez.
And unfortunately for him, Snake Trap isn't really going to help him out either, because it's just going to get cleaned up.
Hounds don't work either right now. I mean...
Baron Geddon, it's just the death of this deck.
Yeah.
And then, even if something happened, there's a 3rd trap here to try and get that bow up as quickly as possible. But... he could just go, he could do whatever he wants at this point. He could throw down Alex Straza, bring in the point. But the thing is I think here he saves Alex Straza. He saves it for when he goes low.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, just in case.
That's the important notion here. Right now, Artosis is consulting the referee, I assume. Or at least looking for a referee.
No, maybe not.
All right. So, I mean, whatever he wants to do is great.
Yeah, I mean, he's sitting there and he's got everything, you know, available to him right now.
Maybe go for the Gore Howl. He knows his opponent with 3 traps down. It has to be like Freezing Snake, Explosive. There's obviously Snipe is still in there as well, but
Explosive as well.
Unlikely.
I think he had.
Yes, he did have a second one in his hand. Yes. So maybe actually he's a little bit afraid of playing Ken because he could have run into the Snipe with that many secrets being there. And he has to keep shielding up because the thing is that Baron Geddon is a great tool to clear an aggro hunter's deck, but because of the hero power of the hunter as well, he's doing technically 4 damage to himself because that hero power is always going to be used for Lothar unless he has a really good hand to get a massive combo out. So whilst Baron Geddon's a blessing, it's also a little bit of a curse as he always has to spend that 2 mana on the armor.
Does have a small lead in house, 7-point lead in house, but that's not really relevant right now because he's also got 5 cards in his hands, which all add up to 9 mana. Unlikely he's going to play them all. Very unlikely.
All right, let's see what he's going to do. Still really stuck. Still very, very stuck. The thing is with IEM Beak Owl, he could silence that and negate its possibilities, but then it would attack straight. So he does still have a Leroy Jenkins, I assume, because you just have to run that in an aggro hunter.
If he's running the low mana, the 1-4 mana, then yeah. That's the last card he'll have.
Yeah, even that's not giving him a I mean, well, if you add it up, 3 damage from the weapon, 2 damage from that, 5, so he's got a potential of like 11 damage there, and he is actually going to silence it. All right. This was Expected. There's no way you can just sit there and leave that threat of 2 damage to all your minions and as an aggro hunter all the time. So that's the best play he could have gone for there, definitely.
So
he's still so apprehensive about hitting him straight.
Yeah, he is. He is. Rightly so. 3 traps set.
And his
one of each. He'll probably have figured that it's one of each as well.
Game's certainly not over.
What actually went in there? Freezing, explosive.
Freezing, explosive, and snake.
Oh, snake. Of course,
so snake does have a lot more value now that the Baron Geddon has indeed been silenced. But there's always that brawl, which would end up killing off the juggler, killing off the owl. Well, depends entirely, because having 3 snakes on the field gives it much higher likelihood of those snakes being one to retain after that kind of brawl. So he does go for this. And that, actually, that's catastrophic for Lothar, because now he's just alleviated the silence on his Baron Geddon. But he's getting him in lethal range if he did for some reason if he got himself the Leroy now, he would be, well, he is in lethal range. And he's certainly thinking about that.
Yeah, he is.
Because you do.
That's exactly what he's thinking.
Yeah. I mean, he could just play Baron Geddon again. But then, still, lethal range is there. Yep. Because if Leroy was there. He's putting himself in a curious position. Artosis, obviously he knows about that.
Yeah.
A snake trap. Noticeably not spent any mana yet. Really evaluating his options.
Yeah.
Really
trying to get rid of those traps.
Yes, indeed.
And seeing what it leaves him with effectively. And
that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of snakies.
Mr. Juggler is a good card, but he does disappear. Right, now this is really scary for him. He might have to play Alexstrasza. 7 health at this point is quite scary.
Yeah.
And he's going to
24 plays 7. Reminder as well, this is best of 5. Artosis is 2-0 up. And would guarantee himself $1,000 prize money at the very least, even if he went through to the final and didn't make the winners.
The thing is that
circle.
Even if he brawls and that owl gets left, there's lethal, and then he dies.
Ball's going down.
Oh, well, he gets the owl at least.
Had to clear the board.
If he has any remnants of a buff, of a charge...
Left with the single sleeping snake that's going to disappear.
At least he had a little bit more mana at his disposal, so he can armor up and get himself out of that spot. So there's still 5 damage on the board there straight. It does not draw and top deck Leroy Jenkins, so...
No. Doesn't matter though.
Could throw down the explosive trap, but...
That's GG.
Alright, well... Throwing down that trap, and that now still puts him in an odd spot.
I don't know how Artosis gets out there.
He's got to Alexstrasza. He's too low.
Now.
Absolutely.
Yep. Has to come out.
Way too low. Any other option here is not a choice because he doesn't have taunts. He would die straight from that lethal from his opponent next turn.
Yep.
So this is indeed the right play, even though he's still contemplating it. Technically could clean up the loot hoarder, but that would give his opponent the opportunity of... Well, I mean, he kind of has to clean it up. And let's see what he gets from that draw. Artosis is nodding his head. Adding up them numbers. Lothar still has a very... Lepanome. Actually, you know, it's a guaranteed 4 damage if he were to play both Lepanomes, at least. Unfortunately for him, Release the Hounds. It's just not...
I mean, he only gets the 1 card.
Well...
You see him shaking his head. He knows he's going to just play them now.
I don't know why I keep calling it Release the Hounds. It's Unleash, but...
sorry, you're right.
It has the same meaning.
Yeah.
So
no, but you're right. It was my fault. I always call it Release the Hounds.
This is
I always think I'm stuck in a
I mean, Lothar knows his opponent really doesn't have much taunt power in this. So...
Well, I haven't seen a single taunt, actually. Maybe one. So...
And
that was the last of the traps.
From that point on, he now has lethal.
Yep.
So, there you go. Artosis goes up 3-0 against Lothar after having a... I keep forgetting about Gorhal. I keep doing it. Ah, Gorhal, you cheeky little fella. But there you go. Artosis is victorious. A 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, and I can't really say much more about it. He's efficient, well thought out, methodical. Lothar, though, I mean, he spent a bit of time thinking about his plays every round, and you know, the best he could do. He got it. Artosis pretty low at one point. I think he was down to 5 health before playing Alex, and then yeah, he is the smartly sharp-dressed pro gamer.
He is. If you don't know, guys, he's just come off the back of casting some. And there you go.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to Artosis.
You know, I think we should. I think we should actually make it a rule that they all have to play in suits now. I'm joking, of course. So Artosis is safely through to the grand final, where he'll fight it out for either $2,000 or $1,000. The runner-up does get $1,000. There's also some prize money for third, fourth, so that game will also take place. But we also have the second semi-final coming up next. Interesting, I think, to say the least. How did you measure Artosis is playing that?
Really good.
Where do you think, compared to Seat Story?
I mean, the big difference in all of that is, you know, the handlock dying off to the Control Warrior, which obviously Lothar was really relying on and didn't gain it.
Do you think that having Hunter, I mean, because we should explain it, by the way, the decks decided before they actually come into the game, so he wouldn't have known that was his last deck. But Hunter deck last as well. Do you think that kind of hurt him? I mean, I thought he played really well. I was sitting there thinking, these low mana decks on them, I don't like them because I've played around with those a lot, and I just can't win with them at all. But he did really well.
You come in with 3 decks, you have no other option in the end. Yeah. So he forced his hand, and unfortunately that's the case.
All right, one semi-final is down. Let's go back to Sean for our second semi.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm joined by Artosis. How was that for you, sir?
I'm really, really happy with that result, obviously. 3-0 with that first deck, not having to reveal my other decks. It's as good as I could hope for.
Now, looking into the next matchup we have, do you have any predictions or preferences, the way you'd like that to go?
Well, you know, Nimsh is my teammate and good friend, and I think he's definitely one of the very best players in all of Europe, so I hope and think that he's going to take it down.
And would that be kind of the final you'd like to be a part of?
Absolutely. He just beat me last weekend at the Seat Story Cup, 4-3, so I'd love to get some revenge on him.
Revenge is on Artosis' mind. We're going to be right back. Stick around for now. Thanks,